things that secondary school sports needs to be supported. And I'm happy today that in our midst we have the former athletes and coaches and people who almost contributed in laying the foundation stone of this very association who called for a press conference today. Mr. Savare, Mr. Bunjai, and so called Mr. Brame, and any other person who belongs to that group. You are all very, 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 very most welcome to Secondary School Sports Association. And thank you so much for this wonderful donation. The money given will go a long way in helping us to galvanize our championship 2022 edition. We've already put plans ahead of the presentation ceremony before we actually visit the money. We have already put plans on the table that the money will be used to buy some wonderful medals for athletes who win events, first, second, third position, bronze, silver, and gold. We made arrangements already in Senegal, and with the medals from today, by tomorrow we will try to transfer the money to Senegal so that at least the medals will be here before the start of the championship. I want to pay homage to Mr. Alucham. He was the chairman of competition for this very association. He is the one that usually arbitrates whenever there are issues because he's the one appointed by the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education to take charge of such issues. Because all of us, from the president, the vice president, all the other executive members, we all came from schools, but Ali Chan did not come from the school. So therefore, he's in a better position to arbitrate between schools whenever there are issues. Since his departure, we have been communicating. He has been calling every company we can have from the association, all the time speaking to us, telling us his plans, that when he arrived in America, what he plans to do. And of course, he has manifested the promise that he will make sure he reach out to the ex-athletes by bringing them together for them to contribute to see what they can do for the association. We have been all the time trying for support from the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education. They are doing their part. Ministry of Youth and Sports, GAA, the National Sports Council, and the GNOC and any other private body or individual. We have been asking them all the time that if you value Gambian sports and you want Gambian sports to be developed to reach to a different level, then please venture or spend in secondary school sports because that's the foundation. When the foundation is good, then we can all go back home and sleep. Gambian sports will reach to a different level. But as long as the foundation has an issue, it is always going to be difficult. And we need to have that systematic way of transiting athletes from the school system then to the national level. But the Gambian, the structure in the country has some little bit of problem which needs to be fixed. So the ex-athletes and the coaches the national executive of the school sports, honestly, we are very much grateful since we got this news. And Mr. Bunjari has been on me throughout, calling, texting, calling, because I ever known him to be a very, very agile personality. And no wonder when he called me all the time, if I see his call, I say, let me refer him to Jam so that he can be calling Jam, because I know him. If he wants this, he must go for that. It's the same. So your contribution towards secondary school sports, and your colleagues out there, I know some of them will be watching live, especially those who are on screen live. We want to say a big thank you to all of them. So once again, thank you so much for your contribution. And the money definitely will help these athletes who are yearning to become the likes of Usain Bolt and Gina Bars, the Gambia producer, and the old ones that I cannot remember. You want to put on your yes, exactly. So we thank you all. We thank you all. Thank you so much. Thank you. To wrap up information, we are calling former athlete and coach, Emmanuel Cisse.
And my sister, Gambian former athlete that represented Gambia, the first female with a I have been with the yes, yes, and I'm again. I'm part of this association for my town, and I'm also Gambian school sports. The president was saying about the foundation. That's where you will see the kids, the talented techniques that will go a long way. Senior secondary school. So we need to work on the primary school as well. That's where we start our foundation from primary six. From primary one all the way to grade 12. The reason why Europe sport is that 6 days. Where I will be watching from the beginning to see well, I'm standing here today representing all the former athletes and this is just a start. And we're really looking for the school sport really is something with this, and the kids will have to see that medals we are giving to them. In our time, we're giving unless and until we send the Gambia into some competition, then medals. But we normally have. And this time, I guess it's with and we're here, and my coach is here as Maria Masala. She's my sister, my big sister. We are living together, and I'm glad that I'm retired. Over there to the higher height. Thank you for where you want us to support. It's part of it.
Thank you so much, Mr. Brahman, Mr. Undai, and Mr. Sabali, and was as Sarah mentioned, waiting for those present here today. We have our really happy that people are especially these young talents, and trying to bring them to the next level. Thank you so much, Mr. Icon. This is going to allow the young athletes as we continue what we have. Let's allow them. You know what it's like. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much. You can take a seat. Continue.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, let's continue next on the agenda of the preparation for the 2022 Schools for Standards Championship for the 10th, 11th, 12th, and 13th, which is this weekend. After a hectic delivery hits that were done across the country from Pasay to the different places, we are set to host the biggest national championships this coming weekend. And after conducting the hits, as I said, there are certain ingredients that are added or subtracted, and the executive is here to explain the topic, particularly the schools, ahead of the finals this weekend. First of all, allow Mr. Jamet, Secretary of the School Sports Association, to read from the hits that we have done nationwide before we go into suspensions and expenses in the
started our hits in Pasay before we have championship. We started with the regional hits, and then we have done it to zone, the whole country to 4 zones of freedom. We have URR and CRR combined together. They have Pasay zone. We have Farafenni zone where we have the non-bank and LRR combined together. Rikama, all the schools combined at that place, and KM and KM municipality schools in that area also combined. So we started at Pasay, like I said, and then we started very well. The first time a lot of schools that has increased. The fanfare equally has increased. Attendance of the fund in general equally have increased. And we have 22 senior and 7 over basic schools, and a total of 29 schools combined together that competed in Pasay zone. It lasted for 3 days, and we have seen an amazing talent exhibited by the provincial people. In the past, it used to be dominated by few schools like St. George's and that from Bansang, Giants and Brikama. But things are gradually changing. Because almost every school, out of 22 senior secondary schools, only 2 schools missed to have a qualifier in the national championship first time. Almost every school will have at least a representative in the national championship. It is a remarkable performance and then a big improvement showing that everybody is making an effort to make the mark when it comes to the national championship. Farafenni will never surprise as they have been very outstanding when it comes to their performance, and also the number of schools have equally increased, 22 senior and then 11 upper basic, Farafenni zone, 25 in total. We have seen a shift in terms of record holders. It used to be a senior secondary school that used to be dominant. In fact, they will almost take all the qualifiers out of 43 qualifiers that we contested. So we used to have about 40 qualifiers, at least 39 qualifiers. And force is always there for ourselves. But this time it has changed completely. And we have seen St. Mike taking over from SL. Not only that, even Farafenni keep on beating SL and moving SL to third place. The traditional schools that used to battle with SL, Tahiri comes fourth position, the very minimum qualified. So you can see that trade state ratios have changed automatically in terms of the performance of the schools there. Every school is coming up with a very good performance, with very good talented athletes trying to make a name for themselves. The traditional holders of the over basic champions is Bar Ezo, they still never surprise and they still maintain the very high amount of qualifiers. You have Bikamazoo, which is the largest group. We have 44 schools in total that came to participate, 26 of the senior secondary schools, and then 18 upper basic schools. And then, due to the large number of schools that comes into the competition, we decided to increase their days. Used to be 4 days and we increased to 5 days. Even with that 5 days, we have two good face, but the number of schools that came is very large. But the competition went very well from the first day to the last day. And then we have seen a remarkable performance from almost all the schools, particularly the senior category, where the likes of Goldfrop and Mahal and others who used to take the number of almost maximum qualifiers for the national championship is gradually changing. In fact, it has changed. The maximum that Goldfrop could have was 27 qualifiers. Mahal could have about 16 qualifiers. When we used to have about 40 something qualifiers, 30 something qualifiers. So that shows that Bikama also is also another country brand that's open for all schools within that area to at least get a representative in the national championship. We have seen Bikama, the school that is at the top is still presentation. They are still at the top, and then followed by schools like Nigeria, and then even the newcomers, Jambu and others, are also coming up. So we are expecting to see a very nice final. When those champions from the regions come to rub their shoulders in the national championship. We have also had our last regional hits at KM, where 29 schools were there in total, and it also went very well. And equally, another surprise happened in KM. In the past, it used to be Gambia High, San Augustine, Muslim. That has been the traditional, schools that are known for school sport. When you mention school sport, you only mention those names. But gradually they're becoming a boss name now. Because the competition will even come up to the end. You hardly see them competing with the others to a level that can even make people counted. Because new schools are coming and they have almost taken over the mantle of the leadership as far as the region is concerned. We have seen the newcomers, Scarlet International, coming for the first time from all the way from Dufu, coming and then make a bigger surprise ever, coming in first position, with a very good number of qualifiers. You also have the likes of Bakote coming up with a very respectable performance. They came up with the second position. Newsrat, that used to be education only, but they it's making a difference. They can do both as their slogans, start up. And then they came out third position with the 15 qualified. So we are expecting from that end to be another very stiff competition during the national championship. And the upper basic, it used to be the traditional, Bakote, but when Bakote moved, Rajikunda Stambians, commonly known as plazas, took over and still maintaining, their authority over KMC as the champions of that year. And they came on the first position with a very high number of qualifiers. So far, so good. This is the qualifiers, and then we are very much happy that it went very well. And then the attendance level was very good. The level of component and the discipline level from the schools was very high. And then even their dress code, we have seen a lot of improvement. So we are very much grateful and thankful to the principal for placing up their admits to come up and participate in a very colorful manner. We are expecting over 100 schools in total, both upper basic, and senior secondary school. Although total 135 schools competed, for the national championship countrywide. But out of that 135, we are expecting over 102 schools or more that will come to the national championship because other schools will make even a single qualifier. But we have seen that this has increased. In the past, it used to be around 75 schools that will come to the national championship, but this time around, we are expecting to see at least 100 schools that will have representation in the national championship. So far, so good. This is the regional qualifiers, and now we are ready for the national championship, which is slated for on the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, that's 11, 12, and 13 March 2022. And we promise you that it's going to be another spectacular national championship, because we are always trying to model our competition to the international standard. In the past, our last championship, we have seen how colorful it was, how organized it was. And this time around, the national organizers and the executive are working tirelessly to model it better, to even come with another style, far different from the last time, just like the international, where the athletes will only come in and run, and they will be called upon, and ushered right inside without even the basket girl accompanying them. They run and they go back without being, even spending even a few minutes after their event. So because that's how the international is done, and we are also modeling ourselves. We should not underrate ourselves as a country. We have potentials, we have all athletes, and then the organizers. So we have to use our minds, our brains, and everything. With our little resources, we want to make sure that sport be a pride of this country, both nationally and internationally. This is our aim, and we promise you that from 11, 12, and 13 is going to be a spectacular time. Thank you.
Well said. And I think the takeaway home is we used to have 60, 70. For the first time, we have reached the 100 mark. 100 schools will gather for a 3-day national championship for the first time. And I think that's a first improvement. And remember, this is where the Aramajambas and Ginas are here from. So we will be creating more Ginas, more animals in this weekend. That's excellent. But the disappointing part of it is school sports is still moving without sponsors. You don't have sponsors. I don't know if you know the school sports person.
Thank you. Yeah, Islamic Jame. All right. Thank you. First of all, let me welcome all of you from the first part of today's activity. I want to say a big thank you to our press. They have been following us ever since. From the original since the upper regions, since the beginning of the championship, the press have been with us, and they have always been with us. Anytime the championship is around, they always come over to patronize us, to give us the airtime, the kind of publicity that we need. And look at it, the turnout for today's press conference. I'm really, really very much grateful that this number of media houses were able to turn out to come and witness today's event. From the Secretary General's statement, we registered quite a number of schools that took part in the championship this year. But when you look at Secondary School Sports Association, this is an association as the chairman of occasion mentioned. It's an association without a support. We don't have a sponsor from, let's say, a particular sponsor that will take care of the competition, let's say, athletic championship or volleyball or basketball. Athletics, it used to be the Trust Bank, the likes of Trust Bank, but since that contract finishes, there has never been any sponsor for athletics. When the likes of the GQCCU came in to sponsor the cash prizes for the finals. And then, of course, our line ministry, Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, who used to give us, sort of a subvention, every year. They give us an amount that will, help us to survive. Usually, we spend a lot of money from the beginning of the championship, that is the regional hit, to the finals. We nearly spend over $2 million every year. in order to at least have this kind of championship that we want. In fact, if we get a better sponsor, we will go beyond the type of organization that people used to see when it comes to athletic championship. And I know everyone in this country loves to witness athletics. And these are talents that are coming from schools. And the reason of staging this championship is for the bigger bodies to at least be able to scout raw talents from the schools that will represent the Gambia at any level. Because it is the biggest grassroots sport development body in this country. So therefore, school sports deserve a sponsor or a support. So those who are doing it, like the likes of GQCC, we say big thank you to them for actually giving us or lifting up to us to another level. This year's championship has taken a different trajectory in the sense that school sports has been suffering for some time as a result of cheating, the level of cheating in school sports, secondary school sports. We have always been fighting against that. We always want to make sure that schools refrain from filing athletes that are not qualified to participate in the championship. In the past, you see an athlete running for a school who has graduated 5, 6, 7 years ago. When we took over, we amended the constitution, we amended competition rules in order to at least try to avoid, or minimize cheating in the competition. If your time elapses, we say a big thank you to you, go and participate in the trials. The likes of Mariama, Sarah, and other coaches, Ma'am Kira, and so on, they are around. They usually call for trials, and then you can go and participate, and then maybe you will be lucky to be chosen as one of the athletes that will represent the country. But those who are in the school system, the age matters a lot to us. Be it football, be it athletics. Because we don't want to always accept or allow athletes to participate who are 20, 23, 24, 25 years of age. We only want athletes from the upper basic, they should be under 15. The senior secondary school, they expect the under 17s to be there. So that the Gambia, the GFF, the likes of GFF, can always be able to scout under 17 footballers from the schools. But if we allow people who graduated 4, 5, 6, 7, or even 8 years ago, or those who are not even going to school, the likes of masons, the apprentices, the carpenters and so on, or even some teachers who are in this system, if we allow them to come and participate in the competition, then we are not fair to the young ones that are trying to shine, that are trying to make athletics as a living. Because some big group of people out there are, almost blocking their opportunity for them to rise. This is why this year we try to come up with a very tough stance against any form of cheating. When you look at football, when we play our championship, honestly, it is going to be always very, very difficult for the federation to be able to scout only 17 players from the schools. Because you see divisional players playing for upper basic, first division players playing for senior secondary school. The last championship we staged in Darasoma was a terrible experience. Athletes came from anywhere, footballers. They came from anywhere. Whosoever think that this one is fit to play or can play is an R9 or R7 or whatsoever, let me join the person into my team. And it's not helping us. Because it will create problem for those coaches who want to identify talents for the national team. Remember, the Gambia has suffered twice due to overage, filing overage athletes, age cheating. We have been, how to call it? We have been warned twice, but found wanted. So we don't want it to happen for the third time. And how can we avoid We can only do it through applying measures, strict measures, and making sure that anyone who files in an illegible athlete, that person will be penalized at the end of the day. We are not favoring any school. We are not going to look into the eyes of anyone, whether it is me that concerns or my school or German school or Kevin or any other person. All of them will be penalized. We mean business. Any school that cheats, unless and until we don't have full knowledge of the athletes that you file, that you register, but so long we get the information, even after championship, we'll follow it up. We'll follow it up, and then if we dress you as the winner, we will undress you later on. We'll call for a press conference and undress the particular school. We want PE teachers, anyone out there, to make sure they bring in athletes that are registered students of their school, not people who have already graduated and keep on moving like migrant athletes from one school to the other, one school to the other. Some of them, when they reach to your school, they even hide their identity. They don't want you to know their history. Or when we follow it up, we come up with very interesting stories regarding their background. Some of them start to grade 9 exams in 2013. Some were registered in grade 7 in 2012 or 2011. And they are still in the system. And our rules stipulate, made it very clear that if you are in one school, grade 7 to grade 12, you are only allowed to participate for 7 years. Only 7 years. Grade 7 to grade 12 is 6 years. Then you have the opportunity of repeating the class once. But if you are in 2 different schools, then your upper basic school, you have the chance to repeat the class according to the education policy. And in the senior secondary school also, you have the chance to repeat a class. So that means an athlete that changed school twice, from upper basic, grade 7 to grade 9 in one school, and grade 10 to grade 12 in another school, that athlete for 8 years. And these rules were made very clear to everyone. They were very much explicit, and then we circulated the rules to everyone. And this year we added another one to the current one. And that stated that any school found cheating, that school will be banned for that particular year of competition. So that means all the schools that are found wanting this year are all going to perish for this year, because they have cheated. We want schools to come up and then participate by bringing in the right athletes who are students, bona fide students of that school, who transferred through the right procedure, and then who have not started to work already. Because the moment you start to work, you are not qualified. And then I want to send this signal to all the PE teachers, wherever they might be, or you might be, make sure you learn a lesson from this year. Because we will never bend and we will never relent when it comes to fighting against cheating. We have come up with a situation, or we discovered a situation where schools, unite to cover up investigations or evidence during our investigation. We have discovered that not once, not twice, not 3 times. Sometimes even the principals are even involved in cover-ups, which is very much disappointing. And sometimes I have to intervene and call those principal to principal. You will not tell me, but a particular document is not available in the school. Then I will question, what are you doing in that school? Although I'm not your authority, but I will question that. And we discovered also a situation where before we even reached at a particular school, some school, when they realize that we have been petitioned, where the athlete comes from, they will go there and then corroborate with that particular administration in order to cover it, which is one of the worst crimes. I don't expect genuine individuals in sports who were supposed to be developed to behave like that. But in as much as we are here, this executive, we have taken the toughest stance to fight against cheating. And we will continue year in, year out, until such a time when we will all leave office. But we will never be here to allow this magnitude of cheating to be going on annual basis. It is not actually done, and it's not helping sports development. So this year, we have although we have got some reports from various schools, there were some appeals we investigated, and almost all the appeal letters that we have received, they all were positive. We investigated, and then we found them to be true on the ground. Because we went to those schools, we have been following them. Some schools will be visiting them almost 3, 4, 5 times. Since in the morning, I was in Bakote Upper and Senior Secondary School to investigate about the Binti Jawa, that is one of the fastest sprinters, that is the lady Binti Jawa, whether she has actually outlived her time in the school system. And then also the likes of another boy who was who was registered by Bakote, but then being denied of registering that particular student. We have the following schools. Investigations have been completed or confirmed that yes, they have filed in an eligible athlete, and therefore those schools are going to be banned from competing this particular champions 2022. Mindao Senior Secondary School, Botrop Senior Secondary School, Mahab Senior Secondary School, New Covenant Upper Basic School, Jamisa Upper and Senior Secondary School, Kafuta Upper and Senior Secondary School, St. Peter's Senior Secondary School, Jambu Basic Cycle School, Jambanjeli Basic Cycle or Upper and Senior, I don't know, is it Upper and Senior? Upper Basic School. These are the schools that are confirmed. And we also have about another 8 schools that the investigations are yet to be completed before the final. Because as long as we confirm them, those schools are also going up from the record. Those are Newsrat Senior Secondary School, Scarlet Senior Secondary School, Bakote Upper and Senior Secondary School, Nemosu Senior Secondary School, Kotu Senior Secondary School, Bansang Senior Secondary School, St. Michael Upper and Senior Secondary School, and Farafenni Senior Secondary School. These are the schools that are found wanting, but then the investigation are yet to be concluded. The first list I read are the ones that whose investigation have been concluded. Yes. Mindao Senior Secondary School, Upper and Senior Secondary School, Botrop Upper and Senior Secondary School, Mahad Senior Secondary School, New Covenant Upper Basic, Jamisa Upper and Senior Secondary School, Kafuta Upper and Senior Secondary School, St. Peter's Senior Secondary School, Jangul Upper Basic Cycle School, and Jambanjeli Upper Basic School. And the ones that are in the limelight, whose investigations are yet to be completed, Newflat Senior Secondary, Scarnet, Bakote, Nemasu, Kotu, Bansang, St. Michael, and Farafenni Senior Secondary School. These are the schools, and then of course, we are appealing to the general public, even you, the media houses, or the press offices. Anyone who knows an athlete, it could be your friend, a relative, or someone whom you have covered, maybe some few years ago, and is still participating, you have seen it, you have every right to talk to it. Together, we can clean up the championship and allow only students who are in the system to participate. Together, we can do it. But us alone, the executive, it will be very, very difficult. So we are appealing to anyone out there, be it teachers, parents, or even sport lovers, spectators, anyone who knows an athlete who is not actually eligible to participate, has actually graduated from school, please report back to us. We are appealing to all of them. Report to us. And we had also experienced some issues of transfers during the course of the champions. We have experienced a situation where at least we are transferred in a very funny manner. And then the regional office intervened until that at least they said yes, he's qualified to participate. We have what we call transfer window. It starts from June 1st to October 31st. Transfer window is closed. Anyone that transferred after October 31st, that particular athlete is not eligible to participate in our championship. So, any school that is found wanting of manipulating transfers, if we discover it, you are going to be penalized heavily. And this time around, our penalties are not just going to be, yes, we didn't know now that the competition, this one, the competition has passed on, therefore no step will not be taken. No. We'll go beyond that. The way IOC do their sanctions, we are going to follow the same. So please, 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 this is what we have for you. And then for the finals on Friday and Saturday, preparations are on the high gear. And we are making some arrangements as regarding the students' lodging and also their feeding and everything. Because the association feeds all the athletes that are coming in. Because I think the Secretary General forgot to tell you the number of students that we are expecting. You only reach out the number of schools, but the number of athletes, that is, if you multiply this number by maybe 900, at least almost close to 1,000 athletes that will be coming across the country. So without sponsor, feeding them, imagine that is going to be a daunting task. All right? And then also accommodation, we take care of their accommodation, we take care of their feeding, and all the officials, and then also plus some other logistical arrangements. Security also the same thing. And I want to use this medium to appeal to the Inspector General of Police, because our competitions sometimes are not given that much rating, that much respect that it deserves. Sometimes, in other regions, the number of security personnel that we receive are very, very, very small. Imagine having a stadium full to capacity, that number, you only have 15 PRU officers who cannot even control if those students go wide or if the crowd go wide. It will be very, very difficult. So I'm appealing to them to intensify security for us. Let them give us more men Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in order to at least provide us the right security. And immediately after the events also, we have some criminals out there who will be coming to the event with knives and other weapons, and they will be waiting for young girls or school children out there with their mobile phones and then attacking them to collect their food from them, which is very, very bad. We are waiting to anti-crime to also come and then beef up the security for us, so that immediately after the event, they will be able to track some of those bad guys in the street. And then the security, the PRU, we are expecting more PRU to come, so that everyone can feel safe to come and sit down and watch the event with a more peaceful mindset. So once again, I want to thank all of you. I want to thank our school principals out there, the parents, the school children, who all partake in this particular championship. The Ministry of Education, the regional offices, and also every stakeholder that is taking part in this championship. And all right, PE Teachers Association, of course, their president is sitting here, Alasan C. I want to thank PE teachers on behalf of the associations, Mr. Alasan C, and your cohorts. Thank you so much, because they are the ones who definitely always take care of these athletes. They dig their hands into their pocket, spend on their athletes, because sometimes schools don't give enough resources to prepare these athletes for championship. We have seen this year, like James said, it was colorful. Almost every school now are coming up with brand new jerseys, brand new ties, brand new warmers, spikes, and different things. In the previous days, We see football jerseys, the likes of Lionel Messi, Ronaldinho, Ronaldo, those are the ones that we see at the back of the jerseys of the athletes. But this time around, it is different. We are seeing them with right or the proper outfit that an athlete is supposed to wear in order to participate very well. So of course, our credit union and GTUCCU, without which we find it very difficult to actually, fulfill our mandate. They did very, very well. And then this time around, they are giving us $250,000, for the class prizes that we are distributing within the various winners. The first, the second, all upper and senior secondary school. Immediately after the athletic championship, we'll be going in for the football because Pan African School Sport Championship is also coming. Of it, we are working hand in glove with the GFF. Our football is always supported by GFF. Of course, Pan African School Sport Championship, GFF, together with in collaboration with the Secondary School Sport Association, will be staging the championship in March. And we are just waiting for the athletic championship to be over and we transit into that particular championship. Once again, our Ghana press office, male and female, thank you so much for coming. You always made us proud. You always advertise our program, publicize it very well. May God reward you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. I will now open up the floor. You have questions to ask. Because when I had you reading the schools that are suspended this year, we all know schools and I had you all wow. So far schools are suspended. So a lot of schools are suspended because one would never imagine Portland even suspended for whole championship. And I think we are still in this tonight. This will continue. Even if we used to be left with 5 schools to compete, with using the right date and the right. I think this is a bold decision by the executive happening for the first time ever, and I think it's the best approach that we can use. Questions are open. Your name from Media House.
Yes, my name is Ali Jalal. Good to meet you again. Well, my concern is, I don't know which the reality is clear. And this you said, one of the athletes from a particular school participated in the quiz. And there is this transfer request from the school, from both schools, and together with the parents, the second. And the athlete was very, very, very fine. And all of a sudden, the athlete has to under your capacity, what is your on this side? For the regional direction, how are you trying to analyze this?
Thank you so much. The transfer procedure was not very clear, right? We allowed athletes, the same athlete to participate in the beginning of the regional history, the championship at the regional level, simply because the local organizing committee, the LOC, upon making their investigation, the director later called them, according to them, that yes, this particular athlete, I spoke to the principal of the school, and the principal said X, Y, and Z. They were convinced, and they allowed the athlete to participate. I wasn't around then. I wasn't around. When I was in constant touch with the Secretary General and others, the Deputy Secretary General on the ground, and the Vice President, these are the key Vice President, Mr. Kevin and so. When the following day, the principal of Newsrat Senior Secondary School came to the ground, and then he was asked about a few questions regarding his communication with the director. And then the man made it very clear. They communicated a few days ago before the starting of the championship. And then we put one-on-one together. And then after the event that day, I invited the 2 schools, Scarlet and that was Newsman, senior secondary school. One of the PE teachers, myself, the Secretary General, and the other officials from school. Then I kept on asking them a series of questions regarding the communication, the transfer letter, the acceptance letter, who took the letter to the newspaper. There were a lot of things were fishy in it. It wasn't clear. The procedures used, and then who took the transfer acceptance letter. The girl in question took the acceptance letter from Scandinavia. And then who took the acceptance letter to Newsrat was not clear. Yes, it's the sister in one version. Yes, it's the brother in another version. All right? And then who did they meet at Newsrat when they went there? That also was not clear. And then the director, when he spoke to the principal, when did the director spoke with the principal? That was just recent. And directors later came just recent, before the starting of the championship. All right? And then transfer window has already closed for the 31st of October. So no letter from any authority regarding, writing a transfer in retrospect or, budgeting or whatsoever. We are not taking that. All right? I'm not refuting the efforts the director made. No, but it didn't go in line with the procedures that we carve out for the students to transfer in a more explicit manner. So this was not fulfilled. Criteria were not fulfilled, and then we asked the guy to withdraw from the championship.
He said that they did not respond on time.
They did not respond on time, that's it.
That's how we know.
That's why we know it was closed. I cannot say that before the All right, thank you.
Next question.
On the issue of your name, on the issue of the therapists for the schools that eliminated this year. So is it 1 year or are you looking for
This year only. Yeah, that's good. It's only this year. We wanted to make it 2 years or 3, but we could not come to terms among ourselves. All right? So we decided to make it only this year to send a signal, a very strong message to all schools, teachers, principals, whosoever is a stakeholder, key stakeholder in the school sport development. It is the message is for them. So that at least next year, all of them will try as much as possible to refrain themselves from certain acts.
Okay. Next, I want to question. Is there anything for them to appeal this kind of?
Every decision can be appealed. Every decision can be appealed. But the investigations that we have conducted, they were thoroughly done. We have exhausted every bit of investigation, every angle that we're supposed to look at before taking a decision. We travel to the venues, we interview the students, we interview the teachers, the administrators, this and that. We look at the results, we bring their results, we look at their registers, we look at a lot of things. Even others who claim to have been in the system before the introduction of SID, we look at we ask them to produce the cash book where the students were paying school fees in those days. They have to produce the cash book so that we find out whether the name of the child is written on those particular documents. So a lot of things are investigation. All right. So we will not come here to sit and just announce schools like that. We have no grudge against any school. Where my own school is under the COVID, it's under the microscope right now. So any school that is investigation is concluded, you have just go it out, even from today. We take it out.
My name is well, I want to know whether these over 100 schools make it to the final was confirmed before the acceptance of the school that are finally wanted to the
Yes, these over 100 schools were confirmed before the suspension. Because we can show that tidy our records before the national championship. We send all the qualifiers immediately after the competition. Only one that is called at the moment is KF, the senior category. And all the others, they only knows their qualifiers. So we base it on that one. So now that this development has come, it will prompt the executive, sorry, the secretariat, to go back and recheck all our qualifier, our regional kids, qualifiers list, and then trying to go to the schools that are qualified, come up, and then the schools that are being, sanctioned to the out. So that also will take another period, but it's going to be ready by tomorrow. We are going to be done with that. This is everything. Doesn't mean you can go to school. So how do you know that? You may not call me a
No. The resident.
How do you know?
The press.
Yeah, how do you know?
All right, we can communicate tonight.
The fastest way to communicate our secondary school sports page is now up and running.
And the Facebook
The Facebook page. So all information can be checked. Final schools
Yes, Madam Sarah, how effective is the video assistant camera in this file?
Good afternoon. Because it's very costly. Right now we have one in Senegal, but it's not for Senegal. So secondary school sports was in fact ready to hire the service of those people in Senegal for them to be there, but unfortunately their photo finish is not working. So what we can do now is just to use the camera we have. We have some sophisticated camera that we are using, and it's giving us the good results we want. Another thing is we are taking time. The time, they are the most important thing in this competition. All qualifiers is not position. You may even have first and you will not be qualified. Because the timing tells your qualification. When you have 4 hits, 3 hits, even you can be in hits 1. Almost, when you are in a tougher group, those groups, you will see that we will have 4 to 5 qualifiers in that group because it's tough. But some teachers, they tend to take their athletes to the group that is not tough. So they will take their athletes there, and when they run, they will come and tell you that my athlete took first and he did qualify second. So that's not how we determine it. You can be in a tougher group, and the tougher group always they have many qualifiers because their timing is always good. So this is the case. The timing is there, it's helping us, and we also are using cameras. We have some sophisticated cameras that we have and mobile phones. So and we check everything. We rest assured for that one is in that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think that's a good point. You can feel sports and not qualify for a city championship because it's not about sports, it's about your time. And you all know that for the full athletes, it's not about the time that matters. So it's very important at least from around 200 times. Next question, if there is one, you will because I ignored you because you're not question. There's like big as the journalists are not asking, I will allow you to ask it. But your answer.
Yes. Good evening. How about when it comes to the athletes in the pitch itself? You see different people, some of them don't understand the history.
Very good. Very good.
I think there's a difference, a little bit difference between our finals and our regional hits. Regional hit, the executive doesn't have that total control because we are working with our regional committees. So in every region they have their own committees, and then they ensure that they level the ground for the executive for the smooth running of our competition. But when it comes to the national championship, it's controlled and organized by the executive and the national organizing committee. That's why I said in the past, or those who observe our last final, and even this one coming, you will see a big difference. Only the officials are going to be on the ground. And in fact, this time around, we intend to trust them. They will identify, with the color of the shirt that they are going to wear. And then the athletes are going to be also in from the pole over. And their names are going to be confirmed. They're even going to undress in the pole over room. There's going to be a basket guard inside there where all their material will be packed. They'll only come out in fact, our program is timed. There's a time for every event. When the time is up, 5 minutes before the time or 3 minutes before the time, based on the distance that they are going to cover, then the announcer will announce that this particular event is about to start. 100 meters. Then you see the athletes will start coming in. Announcer, if you wish, you can even mention their name one after the other. They just come in and run out to their starting point. Immediately they finish. They have no cause to stay even more than 2 minutes and they go back. So inside, you always be clean and clear of intruders or unwanted spectators or unwanted athletes.
And that goes to my colleagues in the press. Sometimes we are all allowed to go down because not the championship, but we cannot be crisscrossed in the day of the final. So those are a special place will be dedicated for the press corps at the ending point behind the record keepers, where we can do our interviews and stuff, so we can avoid crisscross in the tracks in the field. Because we want to make it so organized. Even the events have a time. We will share this to all of you before the championship starts. We have each event has its own timing. Just at least to leave the goal, to just come to people who want. Nobody is necessarily allowed to finances into the ground with main board. So just to make it more organized, I was inspired if you wish.
Thank you. I want to ask a question, maybe moving to the first time, about the participating schools coming from the community, or their transportation from here. So what is your association doing? And consultation with those schools to make sure that there's that safety from their transport, from the videos that they are coming from they are participating safely. Because I remember 2019, there was this activity here, and some schools were participating. Only people coming from this meeting that they are doing hard accident. They have been trying to can even use the consideration of the so what are you doing to make sure that you address the social
Yeah, thank you so much. This one is unforeseen circumstances. We don't have much control over it. But regarding the transport arrangement, the association is not doing anything. They are responsible for that for the individual schools. Because we are centering them at the same time, leading. So we expect the schools to solely take that responsibility. The only thing I can add on to that is to advise them to look for a proper vehicle that they are going to arrange. Because you cannot just go and then take any vehicle. The one that charges you less, you feel that one is safer, when actually that one is the worst. All right? So you need to go into vehicles that are better and are in a good condition, they are roadworthy, and they can take you to your direction, your destination. So therefore, my advice is that you just be careful. And a good driver. Sometimes they will just depart neatly from their destination. The arrangements are very late, or sometimes their school authorities will tell them no money, and they will be driving until the 11th hour. And said, okay, we are able to get something, go and arrange for a vehicle. They go and arrange any vehicle and then approach to get to their destination. Which is mistake. Yeah.
So thank you. And to add to that, no school is coming on the day of the competition. They are all also coming like Thursday. So you have the entire day to travel, with low speed, actually drive to catch slow and come have the night rest and Friday don't start. So you don't want to come rush on a Friday morning, you want to come here close to the morning. So that is left to the school speeds, and I think it's good. Therefore, you want to application for that. Let's say because cash price
$100,000. It's less than 100,000, run up 50,000, and then the third place, over place 50,000, and then the second place 25,000.
Thank you very much, the press corps, for taking time to come. As I said, it was a record attendance in press. So I hope to see you all this challenge again. Please make use of your press cards. Perhaps you will not have the time to produce cards for Okay, we will have the press tax. So all of you that are here, we have the discussion. I will give you priority. Don't worry. Just contact me on paper. Okay, and the press tax that will be used for the weekend. Thank you so much for coming once again. And see you all over the weekend. Thank you so much.